There is a huge transfer update coming out of Derby County, with players like Curtis Nelson and Ibu Adams potentially facing the exit door from Pride Park. Now, obviously, this will come with a lot of intrigue and a lot of interest, as a lot of people who follow my videos do love the likes of Ibu Adams and Curtis Nelson. Now, where could these players be heading, and what are we anticipating to happen over the course of the next few days? That is exactly what I'm going to cover in this video. Now, if you have not done so already, this is the Derby Digest. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. But let's dive into it. Now, Curtis Nelson is the latest of a line of players who have been reported to be exiting Derby County over the course of this January transfer window. Now, Curtis Nelson has obviously been a big part of Derby County over the course of the last couple of years, playing a huge part in promotion to League One and ultimately a big part in Derby County during the first half of the Championship season this time last year. Now, he did suffer a huge ACL injury which kept him out for near enough a year, and he's recently made his return, but ultimately he has been replaced times and time again with the likes of Danny Bart. You look at the likes of Sondre Langas, and even more so Dion Sanderson and Matt Clark. And when it comes to Ibu Adams, I know a lot of people love Ibu Adams and have a lot of sentiment towards him for how influential he was when Derby County secured promotion to the Championship, and ultimately how good he was defensively last season. But he's another player who appears to be on the chopping block and could potentially be heading out over the course of this season. There's a lot of rumours going around at the moment, including those for the likes of Caden Jackson, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens on that one. Now, in terms of Curtis Nelson, it's one of those where I'm not particularly surprised about it. I think if you followed my channel or myself for long enough, obviously I do have a different channel which was started a couple of years before this one, and we've discussed Curtis Nelson time and time again over the course of the last 12 months since suffering that ACL injury, and then obviously with the introduction of John Eustace, and I always felt as if Curtis Nelson was going to be replaced and was going to be moved on as soon as he was fit and available to do so. Now, I didn't anticipate him to be fit just yet. Obviously, he made a major speed in his comeback because he was available for the pre-season tour, which he then suffered a little bit of a setback. But it's one of those for me where I didn't think he'd be around this squad at all. I did always think that he would be heading out as soon as he was available to do so, and it does look as if that is going to be the case. With a team in League One by the name of Bolton Wanderers looking at potentially bringing in Curtis Nelson on loan. There is some murmurs about Huddersfield Town as well, but there's nothing concrete on that. Now, a lot of this update does come from the Derby County forum, so obviously you can take it all with a pinch of salt if you want, but I think we're completely honest. We probably expected Curtis Nelson to head out the exit door. Now, in terms of Ibu Adams, over the course of the last maybe month or so, there's been a lot of rumours regarding his position at Derby County and where he could potentially end up, especially with Derby County now bringing in the 22-year-old Danish midfielder Oscar Fraulo. It takes up an extra registration slot and ultimately means that someone has to be heading out the exit door. Now, if we do look at Ibu Adams' role across the course of this season, started the season as a starter and quickly found himself on the bench when David Ozo got fit, when Lewis Travis arrived. And in my personal opinion, I'm not surprised that Ibu Adams has found himself in this position. As much as I love Ibu Adams and the role that he has played at Derby County over the course of the last 18 months plus, he's been a very influential player, but ultimately there's no room for sentiment in football these days. And for me, Ibu Adams has got to move on or be moved on by Derby County, because we've got to push forwards and we've got to get better and better and better. And I just don't think that Ibu Adams fits in the direction that the club is going anymore. Now, I completely understand why many people are probably going to hop in the comments or get at me on Twitter and things like that about this opinion, because I know how much people love Ibu Adams. But for me, there's sentiment in football and you can appreciate what a player's done, but ultimately you've got to keep your eyes open and your eyes on the prize. Derby County want to be a contending club in the Championship. They want to potentially push themselves towards the Premier League, and that's not going to happen with Ibu Adams in the team, or at least that is my personal opinion. Now, considering the fact that he's sort of been dropped, given an opportunity and dropped again, I probably tend to think that that's also John Eustace's thinking. Although we don't have confirmation of what is going to happen with Ibu Adams right now, we are certainly heading towards a period of football where someone's going to have to be deregistered and someone's going to have to play. Now, there is the potential that Ibu Adams stays until the end of the season. That is a possibility, but there is a lot of rumours at the moment regarding the likes of Sheffield United and the likes of Luton Town. Now, obviously, we've spoke about Caden Jackson in a previous video, and it does look as if he could potentially be heading out. Now, I think when we talk about Caden Jackson heading out, the only way that he will leave is if Derby County are able to bring in an adequate replacement to take over from his position. Now, in my personal opinion, I think it's time where Derby County are in a good point of the season. We're far enough away from relegation. We're not really close enough to the playoffs where I think maybe it's time to start seeing some of those young prospects be breeded through into the first team and given some opportunities off the bench. We know what the likes of Andy Vyman, we know what the likes of Caden Jackson and Corey Blackett-Taylor and Selverson can do, but we don't know what the likes of Owen Eames, we don't know what the likes of Charles Abuka or Justin Oguntolu can do off the bench. And I think for me, as a Derby County fan, I've always seen Derby County as an academy graduate club. I've always seen us as a club that will bring players through, even since I was little. You look at players like Will Hughes, pretty sure Jeff Hendrick spent time in the academy. You look at, again, going through the next phase, you've got the likes of Max Burge. You've always had players like Callum Doyle, you've had Connor Ball come through the youth academy, Mason Bennett and players like that. Now, I'm not saying that all of these players are brilliant and have gone on to great things, but they've certainly offered something for the first team while they've been available, and then obviously moved on to whatever position they end up playing in. And obviously you look at Will Hughes, Premier League, Erin Cashins at Birmingham, you look at Lee Buchanan at Birmingham. Like, there's so many sort of players who have gone on to have decent careers in the EFL, and I think for Derby we've got to try and look at bringing through some of those players, like obviously heading into this weekend against Leeds. Hopefully that sees the introduction of someone like Owen Eames or Cruz Allen to see how they get along. I'm not saying that they should come in and then go and start every game, but I certainly think that we need to start bringing these players through, because then it saves you a transfer fee on a replacement for Caden Jackson, a replacement for Andy Vyman, a replacement for someone like Selverson or someone like Corey Blackett-Taylor, because you're giving those youngsters a go to go through the motions and they don't have to be registered. So we're obviously going to have to wait and see on that one. Now, there has been some murmurs about Lars Jørgen Selverson. There's been a couple of people come into my live streams over the course of the last few days and mentioning Selverson to Burton. However, personally, I haven't seen a credible link or even any link for Selverson to join Burton, so we're going to have to wait and see how that one develops. But it's one of those for me where there seems to be a lot of talk regarding outgoings. There's not much talk on incomings at the moment, especially since the introduction of Oscar Fraulo. Hopefully that changes over the course of the next few days, but obviously, as you already know, I will keep you across all of it. Now, obviously, as many of you may know, this is the Derby Digest. We have moved over to X. We've got a TikTok and we've also got an Instagram now. So if you haven't done so already, all those links will be down in the description for the usernames and things like that. So make sure you do go ahead and check that out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. I just want to say a massive thank you for the support on the channel over the course of the last 6 weeks. It's been absolutely incredible. We've just hit, I think it's 410 subscribers, which is absolutely magnificent, and I appreciate all of you for that. Now let's go and let's hit 500, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye, guys.